Hi, this is Fish and welcome to Fish Picks. When I've mentioned my interest in lock sport to friends and family, once or twice I've been asked if what I'm doing is legal. Surely, they say, promoting ways to bypass physical security measures is ethically dubious. And that's got me thinking. So today I'd like to share with you my thoughts on why lock sport is, in my opinion, providing much needed oversight on what is in reality often only the illusion of security. And to do that, we're going to consider the cautionary tale of the TSA Master Key scandal. The Travel Security Administration was set up in response to 9/11 and was put in place to ensure that all luggage passing through the commercial aviation system could be opened and checked by airport agents. Often in the past, passengers would receive their bags and cases back only to find that their locks had been cut off. And so a gap in the market presented itself, which was filled by Travel Sentry, a private company that licensed out the standards for a series of TSA-approved locks. The standards ensured that these locks would have a bypass keyway built into them so that they could be opened using one of 7 master keys held only by TSA agents at airports. This way, a lock could be temporarily removed, the luggage inspected, and then resecured in the absence of the owner. The safety of the flight could be ensured, while the personal security of individuals could be protected. The Travel Sentry licensing system was an immediate success, and many of the major lock manufacturers such as Samsonite, Masterlock, Yale and Abus jumped on board. And you can easily identify a TSA-approved lock by the distinctive red diamond logo displayed on the lock body. On the surface, this model of escrow physical security makes perfect sense. After all, we have a similar system in place in most apartment buildings where the mailboxes and the apartments themselves can be accessed by those officials who hold master keys. Most of the time, our mail arrives safely in the right place and building supervisors respect our privacy. However, a third-party controlled security system is only as strong as its weakest link, and this was the case with the TSA system. In 2015, the Washington Post wrote an article on airport security and posted an image of a TSA agent proudly displaying a fan of the 7 master keys. This was the first of a series of catastrophic errors which would ultimately break the efficacy of the system. You see, most of us think of a key as a physical object designed to open a specific lock. It would be more accurate, though, to think of a key as information. Data on a specific bitting profile. Anyone who has that same information can create a key which will open that lock. If you don't control who has access to the data, you might as well not have a lock. This is worth bearing in mind before proudly sharing the keys to your new home or car on social media platforms. Key designs have changed very little in the last 50 years, but technology has advanced rapidly. And now it's a simple task to take an image of a key and using CAD software create a model which can then be 3D printed anywhere in the world. And that's precisely what happened. A number of hackers collaborated to see if they could create a set of working TSA keys from the Washington Post image, which had already been spread widely through affiliate media channels. Once the Post realised that they had a problem on their hands, they retracted the image and republished it with black squares covering the key profiles, but it was too late. The cat was out of the bag. In reality, 3D printed keys from that less than ideal photograph only proved limited in its success, and many of the early models didn't work. But Travel Sentry was about to literally provide the keys to the kingdom. It turned out that they had left a sensitive document containing high-res images of all 7 of the master key profiles on an unprotected part of their server that was easily accessible to the general public. And so these were harvested and used to iterate new and better blueprints which worked perfectly. Now, anyone with a 3D printer can own their own set of fully functioning TSA keys, or, if you're someone like me who doesn't, You can just buy pre-cut keys online. These two cost me less than £10 and were mailed to me within a couple of weeks from China. The TSA and Travel Sentry are fully aware of the security breach, but seem indifferent to informing the public. I suspect that the implications of a worldwide product recall and the costs involved in a system overhaul are just not worth it because, and this is, if you'll excuse the pun, key, it's not their property that's being compromised. Most people remain ignorant of the fact that the security they are paying for is not real. Too often I see these same TSA locks being used on school and gym lockers because they're relatively cheap and easily available. The red diamond logo makes them stand out from a distance for anyone who might want to take advantage of what is in effect a broken model. To make matters worse, manufacturers tend to gravitate to just a few of the 7 master key profiles. But surely, the bad guys in this story are the hackers, right? If they had minded their own business or informed Travel Sentry and the TSA directly, the escrow security model would remain intact. Well, I doubt it. I've often heard it said that locks are simply there to keep honest people out. Criminals already know how to bypass most physical security measures. They're actively looking out for flaws in the system which they can exploit for personal gain and are often one step ahead of the rest of us. Those who broke the TSA system were unlikely to have been the only ones to have done so. They were simply honest enough that they elected to share that information with the rest of us. I think Locksport operates as a kind of crowdsourced oversight system for the general public. We see locks and other physical security measures as a challenge to be overcome, but we also operate within a strict set of ethical guidelines. It was made abundantly clear to me when I started out that I should never try to open a lock in use, nor try to open any lock without the owner's permission. By testing ourselves against the various kinds of commercially available locks, we'll often come across design flaws which mean that some locks do not offer the level of protection claimed in the manufacturer's marketing campaigns. Such companies would do well to collaborate with the Locksport community. If lock companies really want to offer products that are secure, it would make sense to have prototypes beta tested by those who have the same skills as the criminal fraternity but who have integrity and are community minded. For companies that choose not to carry out due diligence, I think it's a good thing that there are Locksport YouTube channels and forums that publicise the relative merits or failings of any given lock model, so we can make discerning choices as consumers. Humans have always been hackers. We have survived by finding workarounds and shortcuts in the natural world. It's Darwinian evolution in the truest sense. It's not about survival of the fittest, but survival of the best fit. Our ancestors understood all too well that we have to adapt, innovate, and iterate to stay one step ahead of the competition. Uber, Netflix, Amazon have all dominated their market spaces because they employ disruptive business models which have outpaced their slower and less responsive competition. Locksport, I think, embraces that same principle. To see it as a practice that compromises the security of everyday people is, in my opinion, naive. I think Locksport serves the community by holding those who sell us physical security solutions accountable to a higher standard. Thanks for joining me today, and please stay safe.